Hey everybody, Rick Dykes here with Covenant. Hope you are doing well. It's Friday. It has been an awesome week, very, very busy. Actually got to spend some time a couple of days ago down in Auburn with a great friend, Ethan Doss, somebody who I'm getting to know pretty well, and just love his passion for helping people. He actually specializes in working with veterinarians. It's a kind of a specialty that he's developed over time. Great guy. And we had a great time having some conversations. And one of the things that we talked about is utilizing whole life insurance as a vehicle for savings and a complement to, in your retirement plan, to other savings vehicles. Whole life insurance is a non-correlating asset, which non-correlation is something that I may talk about in another video. So stay tuned for that. But he talked about how, at times people get a little bit hung up on what is the rate of return in whole life insurance. And, typically whole life insurance pays a very steady, very consistent 4%, and then also dividends on top of that. So, you can count on 4%, and then dividends are very, very consistent, very steady. We work with companies who pay dividends, have paid dividends for a very long time. In fact, I love the way Ethan said this. His standard is companies who have paid dividends before, during, and since every year since the Great Depression. So before the Great Depression, during the Great Depression, and since. So they paid a dividend every year in that time frame. That's one of his criteria for selecting a company to work with. So if you're earning 4 to 6% every year during that time, that's a pretty great rate of return. But people will still say, well, that's not a great rate of return if I could do, 10 or 12% in the stock market or whatever. So that's something that you hear a pretty good bit. And he and I were having this discussion. He said, well, my answer to that is you don't get 10 or 12% every year. Sometimes you get 20 and 25, and sometimes you lose 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 or 25% in some years. So the question isn't what is the rate of return on average, but that is the rate of return that you hear talked about as average rate of return. And he said, so the question is this: if I were to tell an investor, I will give you 20% average rate of return over the next 2 years, will you give me money to invest? And everybody would say, absolutely. Give me that 20% rate of return average over the next 2 years, and I'll take it. So let me show you kind of what that would look like. All right, so if you give me in year one $1,000 to invest, okay? And then I make you 100%. Sorry, let's see. Make you 100% that year. That's actually going to equal $2,000. Okay, so I doubled your money that first year. That's awesome. You're going to say, man, that is great. So here we are in year two, starting at $2,000. Okay, fantastic. Rick, you're a great investment advisor. But this year, we're actually going to lose 60%. It's unfortunate, but it's the nature of investing in things that are a little shakier. That's actually going to be down $1,200. Okay. So here, by the way, you were up $1,000. So you're plus 1,000 here, you're minus 1,200 here. So you're losing 60%. So now your total balance is 800. So you're starting year three here with 800 bucks. So I come to you at the end of that period of time and I say, wow, unfortunately, you have 800 bucks. You gave me 1,000, but now you have 800. Unfortunately, that is an average rate of return of 20%. Now, I know you're down to $800. You gave me 1,000, but I produce an average rate of return of 20% because I gave you 100 the first year. I lost 60, that's 40. And then we divide that by 2 years. That's 20% average rate of return. So thank you. And by the way, we didn't even get into this. These aren't included in the numbers, but I would have charged you a fee for that because I don't do it for free. I'm an advisor. I'm picking funds. I'm doing this. But that's average rate of return. That's how it works. Over time, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, but it's calculated on an average. But at the end of the day, what is your balance? What is your balance? So if we were to look at it with whole life insurance numbers and just say, what would my number have been if I just got that steady 4%? not even talking about dividends, but we would have added $40 here, and that would have been 1,040. And here we would have added $41.60, and then we would have ended with $1,081.60. So my question is, which balance would you want? You would want this one. Now here's the thing. With whole life insurance, this is what's really cool. You don't have to choose either or. When your money goes into whole life insurance, it can be still used. So money goes into a life insurance policy, it's earning interest and it's earning dividends and interest indefinitely. It never stops because it's getting paid. It's uninterrupted compounding interest. It goes and it goes and it goes. But any given year you want to use the money, you take a distribution tax-free. There's not taxes because it's a distribution against your future death benefit. That's in the tax code. And then the next year that it's time to pay interest and dividends, you still get interest and dividends on the money that you've taken out to use because you took a distribution against your future death benefit, not your cash value. So it's not either or. So if you wanted to take that 1,000 out and go do some sort of venture with it, so a business project with a business partner, some sort of real estate venture or whatever, and we're using a small number like 1,000, but if you had 10,000 or 100,000 in your policy, you can take the money out, flip a piece of property, do something like that with it, and then put it back in and use it again later, or not for that matter. You don't have to repay it. It's just the insurance company will get their money when you pass away through a reduced death benefit. But the money is being used, you're earning interest on dividends on it indefinitely, and you can use it as you go along. So the big idea here is average rate of return can be misleading because I just told you I'd give you a 20% average rate of return, and at the end of 2 years I did, but you had less money than you started with. But that slow, steady, fixed rate of return that you get, that consistent thing that you get with a whole life insurance policy is going to add up, and it's going to compound over time, and it still gives you control to use the money any given year. And that's a powerful thing as a part of your financial plan. All right, guys, that's my Friday video this week. I hope it's helpful. Hope it gives you just something that you want to think about. If you'd like to talk more about this, you can reach me at www.bookwithrick.com. And I would love to talk to you about it and give you some more information. I've got a book that I can send you that a friend of mine has done that's very helpful on it, and a link to some really, really great video content and some great podcasts that we can check out together on it. So reach out to me. Would love to talk to you, and looking forward to hearing from you again soon. Thanks a lot.